Biden administration, like Yo-Yo had said earlier, 25 migrants who had been forced to stay in Mexico crossed the United States border in San Diego on Friday. They are the first group to arrive in the country as part of the Biden administration's rollback of the Migrant Protection Protocol program put in by Donald Trump. Under Trump, the U.S. forced migrants from Central America and other parts of the world who are seeking asylum at the southern border to stay in Mexico until their immigration court hearings in the United States would be held. More than 70,000 people were subject to this program. Many waited months camping out on the ground in ad hoc tents, in squalid conditions, under the threat of extortion, under the threat of sexual assault and kidnapping, which did happen. The Biden administration ended it. They estimate that there are still approximately 25,000 migrants who still have active cases, and that group will be eligible for the first phase of the rollback. The Remain in Mexico policy went into effect back in January 2019. Look at how they were living for months and months and months. It was an unprecedented departure from previous protocols, which allowed for the entry of migrants as they went through their immigration hearings in the United States. Actually, a disgrace that the United States did this to any human being. On Friday, the Biden administration launched its effort to gradually allow entry to migrants subject to the Remain in Mexico policy. This process to admit migrants kicked off at the San Isidro port of entry located at the California-Mexico border. Now, a limited number of individuals who are registered ahead of time by international organizations came through the port. Individuals are required to test for COVID before they are entering the U.S. Once migrants cross the border, organizations in the region take over. There are a lot of charitable organizations helping migrants once they cross into the United States, including the Jewish Family Service, which is a nonprofit organization that is working with many of the migrants and has a leading role in the effort. The asylum seekers who arrived Friday were transported to a hotel in San Diego. They're going to quarantine before relocating. Additional ports will begin processing next week, including in Brownsville, Texas on February 22nd. Now, you may recall I spoke with Team Brownsville, a nonprofit created by 5 friends who took it upon themselves to assist the asylum seekers stuck in the Remain in Mexico policy in their hometown of Brownsville, Texas. These were U.S. citizens living in Brownsville, Texas, who just saw the horrible conditions that people were living under. This is video that Team Brownsville had taken while they were going across the border to help people. This is real video that they took from real volunteers in Brownsville, Texas, and they came across the border every day to help feed and clothe and even provide basic healthcare needs to the migrants. But at least, hopefully, it will be over.
Nice to see something's being done.
Yeah. You know, with Ted Cruz, he went to Texas.
Yes.
I mean, he went to Texas. He went from Texas to Mexico to escape the cold with his family. Then he blamed his daughters. And then there was a big backlash against him because why would the senator from Texas leave Texas when people are dying, freezing, have no food, have no energy, no electricity, but he, because he is a privileged individual, just decided to leave all of his constituents, not help out at all, and just go to Mexico to hang out on the beach until this whole thing is over.
So sad.
I mean, it was basically, as we said yesterday, it was like the captain of the Titanic saying, "Out of my way! Out of my way! I'm getting on the right life raft."
Before the women and children.
Before the women and children, before anybody. He was like the captain of the Titanic was the first person on the life raft.
The captain
reported. Yeah, out of my way, Leo! Get out of my way! When he returned after this huge backlash, and by the way, anybody who's met this guy, I've never met him, but anybody who's met him has said he is a class A-hole.
Really?
Nobody has anything nice to say about him. Democrats, Republicans, no, there's not a person who has anything nice to say about this guy. So it turns out that when he returned, there was a mariachi band that showed up on Sunday outside of Ted Cruz's home to drive him a little loco after his trip to Cancun. 5 musicians wearing sombreros and charro outfits filled the air with traditional music, most notably the sounds of very loud trumpets, according to a video on Twitter. Adam Jama of Carrollton, Texas, set up a GoFundMe page for the band to rattle Cruz and have donations going to the Texas Children's Hospital. The GoFundMe page reads, Senator Cruz, being an amazing dad, dropped off his family in Cancun in the middle of a major crisis and came back to Texas to continue serving his constituents. We want to thank Senator Cruz for his leadership and pay for an amazing mariachi band to perform for him. No one should go to Cancun and not listen to mariachi.
Yo.
Now, the campaign has so far raised $300 of its $1,000 goal. One woman donated $25 in, quote, in memory of Ted Cruz. Now, one other user wrote, if I'm honest, I'm not sure how I feel about this. No doubt Senator Ted Cruz deserves this. However, his children are his pawns and the ones he throws under the bus. Nonetheless, they are blameless and should not be subjected to harassment, even if it's pretty funny. Another wrote, not a great idea if his kids are home. They can't help it if their father is Ted Cruz. But their kids aren't home. Ted Cruz came back by himself. The kids and the wife, they're still in Cancun as far as I understand.
Enjoying life.
Enjoying life. But that's got to be annoying to listen. I mean, you know, everyone likes a good mariachi band every so often. But at some point, you got to be like, cut the mariachi band. You know, I've been listening to mariachi for 7 hours already. You really would go loco.
Right. I don't think they really did it for his satisfaction.
Yeah, I would think so.
Questionable.
Now, I mean, everybody loves a good mariachi band for about 30 minutes, right? After that, you're like, all right, I pretty much heard it all. I need to go on.
Outside your house, like if you're going to a place like a restaurant or a concert or something, you know, where you know you're gonna go listen to it, but it doesn't matter who's playing. It could be any type of music, but if it's outside your house, that's annoying.
Now, apparently the family is back. The entire family did come back to Texas, so the mariachi band is playing for his entire family. It's not just Ted Cruz. You know, that's got to be a little upsetting to the children, the whole family. Yeah. But still kind of funny.
It's funny to me.
But still funny. Meanwhile, the Senate held a hearing today on what Homeland Security Chairman Gary Peters characterized as colossal breakdowns in the intelligence gathering and security preparations ahead of the January 6th attack on the Capitol by Trump supporters. Acting District of Columbia Police Chief Robert J. Contee III was asked about the slow response. He said that on a phone call with Stephen A. Sund, who was then chief of the United States Capitol Police, Army representatives and D.C. officials, Sund was literally pleading for the National Guard. He said, but in response to that, there was no immediate yes to bring the National Guard in. He said Army representatives asked, what was the plan for the National Guard? And expressed concern about the optics. How does this look with boots on the ground at the Capitol? Contee said, I have officers literally fighting for their lives, and that the discussion seemed like an exercise to check the boxes. Sund also revealed for the first time that an FBI warning of potential violence by pro-Trump supporters reached the Capitol Police the evening before the attack, but was never passed along to leadership. I just kind of believe that there was a lack of communication between Capitol Police and National Guard and the U.S. military. And I don't know for a fact because I'm not there, but I do know who is the head of the National Guard in the military, and that's Donald Trump. So it's not surprising that somehow Donald Trump was able to perhaps limit, I don't know for a fact if he did, it's just my supposition, it's my ESP, so I'm just making wild allegations, I have no idea. But the guy is head of the military, and he's the one who is presumably sending everybody to go attack the Capitol to stop the Electoral College. So if he's in charge of the military, and he's also, I mean, he's on both sides, and he's sending in a mob to go stop the Electoral College, it only makes sense that he's not going to, you know, have a very clear line of communication and also have a very clear description to the Capitol Police in advance that, by the way, on January 6th, there's going to be a big mob that attacks you. Be prepared. I mean, nobody told them this. You know, to me, it all goes back to Donald Trump, personally.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Vanessa?
I agree with both you gentlemen. Like, all of this is set off one thing after the other, and it's just still kind of trickling down.
I'm just waiting for somebody to, like, implicate Trump in all of this. because, if the guy is the head of the military and the DC police and the Capitol Police say nobody gave them a heads up that this was going to happen, they weren't prepared for it. And then when they call the military, they're giving a lot of runaround and nobody is prepared for any of this. The one link to all of this goes back to Pumpkin. He's the link, right?
Yep.
If you're right, you don't got to be a detective to figure that one out, right? It's not like an Agatha Christie mystery, okay? The guy runs the military. He also is in charge of all intelligence that comes in about possible attacks. It's the executive branch. If it's not Donald Trump, it's the people who work for Donald Trump. And they're told, and by the way, on the flip side, it's his people and his campaign who are riling everybody up to come and protest. And they actually made the speeches and the platform, and it was $500,000 put in to bring everybody in from that conspiracy theorist. I forgot his name. And now all of a sudden, everyone's like, well, nobody told me anything. The army didn't want to come. Where's the link to all of this? It's Donald Trump.
So
right?
Like you say, that's all facts right there, that it's because Trump did not relay the message. So right there, isn't that proof that he should get some kind of consequence?
It just seems like everybody's tiptoeing around on it. Somebody has to come out and say the executive branch didn't tell us anything, and the executive branch did not provide a clear communication between us and the military to come and protect us. And when we called Donald Trump, and when congressmen were calling Donald Trump, he was busy watching CNN and Fox News. Meanwhile,
just like you said before, that's what you said before. Yeah. It just takes somebody to come out and say something.
Exactly.
Nobody's saying.
Exactly. Meanwhile, yesterday, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for prosecutors in New York City to receive 8 years of Donald Trump's tax returns. The court's decision to turn down Trump's request for a stay of a grand jury subpoena advances a criminal probe by Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance Jr. Last July, the justices unanimously rejected Trump's claims that he was immune from state and local criminal investigations. A federal appeals court rejected those arguments in October 2020, prompting Trump's lawyers to make another run at the Supreme Court. And he lost again yesterday. The taxes are being handed over. Now, there is still deciding whether to seek, the prosecutors are still deciding whether to seek Trump's records from Mazars, a fight they launched in April 2019. And Mazars is the accounting firm that prepared Trump's tax returns. Now, I can tell you from just, anybody's tax returns, no one has to be a genius for this. A tax return shows something, but it's the actual financial documents that went into preparing a tax return that's going to show the difference between what's on a financial document and what's on your tax return. That's how you're going to prove your case. This financial document shows you have a profit of $100 million. Your tax return that was prepared based on this financial document shows you have a loss of $10 million. What happened? That's the case. Okay, tax fraud. That's the case. So they're going to have to get the records from the accountants, and the records that they have to get from the accountants to prove the case is, what are the financial documents that you use to prepare these tax returns? Now, the Manhattan District Attorney has enlisted Mark F. Pomerantz, a former federal prosecutor. He is an expert on white-collar crime, and he's going to lead the team in investigating the Trump family business. Now, he used to be a federal prosecutor, and he led many, very famous, well-known prosecutor, led many prosecutions and put away a lot of different organized crime figures. So when they bring this guy in, they mean business. And I don't believe Mark F. Pomerantz, who has a fabulous track record, is going to take on a prosecution of a case if he doesn't think there's some real meat there.
Right. It's actually a big hashtag. It's a viral hashtag on Twitter trending saying #Trump crime family. So
yeah, there it is.
Everybody wants to see him behind bars.
There it is. Yeah.
It's trending.
Well, who knows? Who knows who's going to be ensnared in all of it? Now, the thing that Trump is relying on is that he is going to lead the Republican Party. That's what he's going to rely on. He's going to rely on having a strong political base that's going to prevent him from being prosecuted, or if he is prosecuted, have such an uproar amongst the population that he'll say fake news, fake prosecution, they're trying to get back at you, they get at me, they get at you, that whole type of thing. So that's why, one of the reasons, maybe not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons why he's not going away quietly, as many ex-presidents do. Because he needs that popular support to prop him up when all the SHIT hits the fan and these prosecutions get going.
It must be nice to just have all that type of privilege to commit crimes for decades and just walk away. Just say it's fake news. Y'all, it ain't real. Like, that's all you got to say? That's wild.
Well, if you have 80 million people who vote for you, yes, that's all you have to say, apparently.
Power, that's what I'm saying.
Right. It's power. But we'll see what happens. Now,
he needs to be behind bars. That's all I care about.
You're probably right, Yo-Yo. Now, according to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now more than 111 million coronavirus cases worldwide. In the United States, 501,000 people are dead. That is more people who died by corona than accidents, more people who died than by suicide. The only leading killers of people more than COVID is heart disease and cancer this year.
Wow.
So, and by the way, COVID is going to overtake it very shortly and being the leading cause of death in the United States, probably in the next few weeks, is my guess.
Wow.
Last night at a White House ceremony honoring the American lives lost to COVID, Biden pointed out the death toll from the pandemic is also higher than the number of U.S. service members killed in battle during World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined.
Wow. And it's going to be a year already.
Yes. Did you ever watch Narcos on Netflix?
Yes.
I love Narcos.
Narcos is an amazing show.
Now, I only watched it with Pablo Escobar. I never watched the El Chapo portion. But apparently now they're going to have a whole new season because it's still going on, El Chapo. Did you see the beauty queen wife of El Chapo? Her name is Emma Coronel Aspiro. She's a U.S. citizen. She's a dual citizen between the United States and Mexico. So that's why she was living in the United States. She was busted in Virginia just yesterday on charges of participating in a conspiracy to distribute cocaine, I can't even pronounce these words, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana for importation into the United States. She's also accused of scheming to help orchestrate her husband's elaborate July 11th escape from the Altiplano prison in Mexico. Now, do you know about that escape? What he did?
I do. I remember that.
Okay,
escape.
So they smuggled into him in jail a transponder that showed exactly where he was to the 1 meter. And he had it on his body. And then they bought some property adjacent to the jail. They built a home on this property and then brought in some equipment into the home. They dug a tunnel from the home through underneath the jail, following the transponder, and dug a hole up into his cell exactly where he was.
At that point, he deserved to just he'll be free. Man.
He then slid through the crack, and they brought a motorcycle so he wouldn't have to walk back into the tunnel, and he motorcycled his way as fast as he could through the tunnel and escaped.
That's true thug life.
Prosecuted. Yep. That is true thug life. That is true thug life.
Legit. That's like legit an episode from MacGyver.
Yes.
Like, this is unreal.
That was unreal. I mean, literally unreal.
Right.
So she is, they say, one of the masterminds behind that as well. If she is the mastermind, she's going to go to jail for a very long time. But what an extraordinarily smart woman. I mean, that's a pretty good plan.
Do you think they're going to get her a good deal?
No, I think she's going to go away for a long time. What is she going to give them? The only way, I mean, if they got her, they got her. So the only way that she gets off is if she gives somebody else. But who's she going to give up?
Right.
I don't know.
That they want.
I don't know. Maybe she has somebody to give up. I don't know.
Never know.
Yeah. Is that crazy?
That's a show. That's a whole show.
That's, like I said, that's a whole season right there.
It's a new season.
It's a new season eventually. New season. Yeah.
This one schmooze note is like it. It's a whole episode.
That's right.
No, that's a whole season.
That's a whole season right there. The plan. Yeah. The plan. It's not an episode. That's like 8 episodes. That's 8 episodes.
You just narrated a season.
Yeah, I just narrated a whole season exactly because he escaped, and then you have the authorities have to go figure out where is he, what happened to him. Meanwhile, sad news. Did you see the sad news with Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Yes,
he is.
Yes, he is. He got in a very, very serious car accident. He is undergoing right now surgery, or maybe in recovery by now, but is undergoing surgery right now for a very serious car accident.
Yikes.
According to his agent, Mark Steinberg, Woods suffered multiple leg injuries. He told Golf Digest he is currently in surgery, and we thank you for your privacy and support. I mean, he had to be pulled out of a car that rolled over. I don't know how the accident happened, but I saw the pictures. The car rolled over and it looked like into a ditch, and he had to get pulled out by, they have the jaws of life, where they literally have to open up the car to pull you out.
That's serious when you use jaws of life.
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky he's alive. I don't know how seriously he is. I would assume it is extraordinarily serious. So that's pretty sad. Tea with Uncle Brad. Spotify announced yesterday that former President Barack Obama and rock and roll star Bruce Springsteen, by the way, I think he got pulled over for drunk driving. They're hosting a new series. Yeah, they're hosting a new series, Renegades, Born in the USA, that's going to feature Obama and Springsteen in intimate conversations exploring a wide variety of topics, including race, marriage, modern manhood, and the divided state of America. That is a really bizarre coupling.
Very. Yeah.
I mean, if you had to say, you know what, we're going to put the President of the United States with a co-host, who are we going to get? When I actually read it, I'm like, that's a pretty wacky combination. I don't even know what Bruce Springsteen stands for. Is he liberal? Is he conservative? Is it going to be like a liberal conservative thing? I don't know what he stands for, really.
But
I would say he's liberal. I would say he's very liberal, is my guess. Based on his songs lyrics, I would say he's very liberal.
It could also be so awkward that it's actually amazing, just because it's a couple that, we wouldn't think would be paired.
Yeah.
They probably have actually good conversations with each other.
Well, Barack Obama notes in the first of 2 episodes released on Monday, and he says, on the surface, Bruce and I don't have a lot in common. But over the years, what we found is that we've got a shared sensibility about work, about family, about America. In our own ways, Bruce and I have been on parallel journeys trying to understand this country that's given us both so much. So I guess they share similar political views, but come from obviously 2 different perspectives in the sense that they've lived 2 completely different lives. Born in the USA, born in the U.S., people think that that's like an anthem for, patriotic America, but it's not. It is a song that is criticizing America. And if you actually listen to the lyrics. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now, talking about the Obamas, Donald Glover, actually, let me take that back. Obama's eldest daughter, Malia, she has landed a role as a writer on the forthcoming project from Donald Glover, who signed a multi-year deal with Amazon. Glover is leaving his deal with Disney, home to his critically acclaimed series Atlanta, which has been on hiatus since 2018. And the series is rumored to revolve around a Beyonce-like figure and stem from writer Janine Neighbors, which is the Watchmen in a way. Malia began her 3rd year at Harvard in August 2019, so she must be really, really smart if she's at Harvard, meaning she will likely finish her 4th year in May 2021 if she hasn't already graduated. So she is.
I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
First of all, they love Donald Glover. The Obamas, he's
Right.
like one of my favorites. Yeah, because he's such a brilliant artist. He's an amazing singer, rapper.
He's a great actor.
Like,
he's a triple threat.
all.
He's a triple threat.
Yeah, he does it all.
Yeah.
So
And he's actually funny. I saw him on Saturday Night Live. He was funny. His Saturday Night Live, when he hosted Saturday Night Live, that was one of the funnier ones of the year.
Yeah, no, and it's like a natural kind of dry comedy. So like, I love him. I love him. And I think that's really dope that he's given her that opportunity.
Why not?
know?
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if she wasn't related to Barack and Michelle, maybe she wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. But why not? Everybody takes advantage of what they can get, right?
No, listen. If you got it, then get it.
Right? Why not? If you can take advantage of it, why not?
Not what you know. Who you know, not what you know.
You know what? I have to tell you something, Vanessa. That is so right. That is so right.
Especially in that industry.
In that industry, not so much in law, but on Wall Street, it's like that as well. You know, on Wall Street, it's not what you know, it's also who you know. It's, you know, somebody brings you into a company and the person who brings you in starts rising up in the ranks and then brings the people who he or she brought in underneath him. And they all rise up together. So that's kind of how it works there too. So many industries, it's like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I have nobody who did that for me. Oh well, I did it all on my own, Yo-Yo, and you'll have to do it on your own. And
Guess what?
you are doing it on your own.
Guess
and
what?
Vanessa, you're gonna have to do it on your own. And you got nobody also.
I did it
That's
all
okay.
on my own.
I got everybody I need. That's me.
A UK tabloid in a huge victory. Let's talk Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for a second. In their feud with the British tabloids, a high court judge ruled on Thursday that the Mail on Sunday, I guess that is a tabloid in the UK, had invaded Meghan's privacy by publishing a private letter she had sent to her estranged father. The judge, Mark Warby, ruled that Meghan had a reasonable expectation that the contents of the letter would remain private. The disclosures from the letter in articles published by the Mail were manifestly excessive and unlawful. The judgment spares Markle the prospect of testifying against her father in a messy public trial, but the judge ruled there would still be a trial to determine legal damages. At the heart of the case is an anguished 5-page letter that Markle wrote to her father, Thomas, a former Hollywood lighting designer, in August 2018, 4 months after he was a no-show at her wedding to Prince Harry. In the letter, she accused her father of breaking her heart into a million pieces by speaking to the tabloids about their estrangement while refusing to take her phone calls. The Mail obtained the letter, presumably from Thomas Markle, and published it in February 2019. I don't know what to make of all of this. You know, you got a father who's trying to cash in on her daughter. You know, you got a daughter who's ripping the prince away from his family.
It's deep.
I don't know who's the good. Yeah, I don't know who's the good person, who's the bad person here. It is quite an entanglement.
Queen Elizabeth is not happy.
No, she's not. She ain't happy at all.
That's like for sure.
Right.
That's the only thing we do know.
Queen Grandma's not happy about all of this.
At all.
Yes. So, but I don't know. But it's quite a what is it? A kernuple? Not a clufuffle. Thank you very much, Julian. Quite a clufuffle. What's going on with Meghan? Yeah, she has caused herself quite a lot of controversy in a very short period of time on the British public stage. Are you a pro Meghan? So some people love her. Some people like, what do you think?
So I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And y'all do not hate me for this. There's something about her that rubs me the wrong way. It's something about her this I'm not here for. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't get 100% genuine and authentic from her.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if she's like an onion, you peel her away, you feel like when you peel her away, there's going to be somebody else there.
Yeah.
Right?
I have an opinion on her. I haven't been able to read her enough. I can't get a read on her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've known her. She's having her second kid now.
Right.
Like the fact that you still haven't been able to read her, like I don't listen. She was an actress. She got like hooked up on a blind date, you know, with Harry. Like she was of age, ready to get married. She married up. Like she was like, I'm about to be royal. Like I don't think she is genuine, and I don't know what it is.
I don't know. A lot at once. She had her career in acting. She never hurt nobody, though. I do appreciate how real she can look at Brad. How real. I feel like her relationship with the prince has been genuine.
I'm just listening to you argue and drinking my tea. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
I don't know what it is. And like I said, I could be wrong, but it is something deep in me. I don't get it from her. I don't know why.
I just think if you peel her away, it's like somebody else is there. You know, like you're
I
like,
don't know.
oh my God, you're completely different than I thought.
I want to be wrong.
And I don't know. And by the way, I'm not saying if you peel her away, she's a bad person. I'm just saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is when you peel her away, she could be like the biggest sweetheart in the world. I just don't know what's going to be there.
Just don't know.
We just don't know. We don't know.
I am kind of a fan of her standing up for herself and not falling into, you know, all of the norms of the whole establishment in England if it wasn't something that was true to her. I will say that I do respect that much.
Now, I want you to know something. As I'm drinking my tea here, I happen to be looking at some of the comments, and Dawn Harriet says, she is an opportunist, Yo-Yo. That's her opinion.
Dawn Harriet.
She is an opportunist. That's what Dawn Harriet thinks.
I ain't gonna say it.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.